Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back. I don't really know what we're going to talk about today because it was an utter shit show once again. The government is still shut down. It is 10:16, and they're not going to even come back until Monday. It's Thursday. I guess they don't work on Fridays either when people's lives are being lost and people are going to lose health insurance and people aren't getting paychecks, but they don't seem to give a fuck because they just don't want to release the Epstein files. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some celebrity drama, some trials. There was some drama with Kevin Federline and Britney Spears today. Uh, Going back and forth about respect. And I don't know. I don't really care. I think that whole thing needs to just be taken offline. Offline. No more Instagram accounts. No more talking. We're done. These people just need to live private lives and be healthy. And that's I'm just gonna say that. Mentally healthy. Yeah. So they said that Diane Keaton's death was due to pneumonia, bacterial pneumonia, and she's already been cremated. I mean, that was like gutting to read, but yeah, let's just see how people monetize off this grief cycle now. So I'm just going to guess like there's going to be state disputes, there's going to be TV series, there's going to be, gosh, I can't even imagine the optics of people playing into this, and it's ridiculous. I have to say, I've been a part of a few celebrity estate issues after death and claiming that people are not of sound mind for the millions of dollars they should get. Those were cases I took because, well, really no one was going to lose. Everyone was going to win-win, and they weren't heavy cases for me, and they were actually fairly interesting. But what I learned is that celebrities and leaders and people that are really, really rich are often just vessels for really smart people. So, anyway, it's always interesting to meet all those high up people. And God knows I've met many of them and I hold many of their secrets. It's great, interesting. Candace Owens was banned from Australia forever. So, she's being sued by France. She's banned by Australia. Maybe we can get like every country on board with this. And maybe you guys will actually start seeing that her propaganda is brilliant, but it is subtle and you are not realizing how much she's lying and manipulating you. So you join, you go on for the ride, you stay for a little bit, you get off when she gets loony, and then you get right back on. But she's also cycling through new people. New people are getting into it. And what she's making is millions of dollars off of you. And of course, well, she's going to use it to pay all these fucking lawsuits because she's a kid. She's a young woman and she's going to get her ass handed to her if she keeps this up. She already is. The president of France is suing her. But of course, she's going hard on the Charlie Kirk stuff because she's distracting from the France stuff. And then she went hard on the Baldoni stuff because she was distracting from other stuff. And she was also in litigation with Australia. Again, she didn't let anyone know that. Distracting, right? Why does she want to be famous so bad? Why does she think her shit don't stink? Why does she also think that she's white and doesn't work but works and we shouldn't work, and she doesn't like black people and she doesn't like gay people, but then she's black but then she's not black. She identifies as white but then she married for money, but then she has nannies watching her kids when she does this ridiculous show all the fucking time. And then, oh, she spreads tons of hate and propaganda, yet she's religious. Okay. But Laura Trump offered to replace Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl today. That's kind because, again, no one thinks that Bad Bunny is American. Okay. I'm starting to see a difference with educational levels and political beliefs. Okay. TMZ fucked up and released photos of Liam Payne's body and then like quickly took that down. I don't know if anyone caught that. I'm sure they're going to be sued. Everybody gets sued. It's all about suing. Government stuff, judge blocked the firing of more federal employees. My husband works for the federal government and literally doesn't know if he's going to be fired every single day. I mean, every email, every call from a supervisor, they don't know. The supervisors don't know. No one fucking knows what is going on. And yes, he did have to respond to random emails from Elon Musk saying 5 things he did good that week. Okay. Yeah, when you actually like run parts of hospitals, you shouldn't have to answer to emails like that because you're working. There should be respect with longevity in your career in the government. I forgot to mention, yeah, Candace Owens, we have mutual like friends. Yeah, they're not really her friends. They just lie to her face and try to take her money. But I was informed that she calls me Dr. Cunt. New nickname. Thanks, Candace. I see you watching my stories. In government news, John Bolton was indicted today on 18 counts of shit he stole from the government, which is almost exactly what happened to Trump and what Trump was indicted. So I say to you, John, don't worry. I think one of the charges included that he was writing like, I don't know, messages to himself in AOL, that old email system that I still have from high school because I don't want to lose messages from high school. I also find it fascinating in the Lively Baldoni case that no one gets to hear the audio of the threats that Steve Surowitz made and the verbal abuse that is being alleged with Justin Baldoni because they haven't figured out a way to put audio tapes up on the docket. So it just, when people run to conspiracy theories, I hope they just look at something like that. They don't know how to put up audio tapes on the docket. Like things aren't that sophisticated, you guys. I know we want to find these like dark reasons why things are happening, but a bunch of idiots run a lot of really big important things and have very big accounts and are really really out there, and we follow them and we think that they're telling the truth or that they even understand the words that they're saying or the words that they're being fed or the lines that they're saying. I think Representative Massey said it best when he said when they have to go into these rooms and vote and their phones are taken away, they all look like children and none of them know what to do. None of them even know how to read anymore because they can't call their Apex sponsor. It's fascinating, though, that leaked DM to Pam Bondi with Trump wanting to basically get everyone out of his way, all of his political opponents, and it's happening. They're all being indicted and they're all being sued. But God, I hope he knows what he's up against because the world is turning on him. And I think everyone just secretly is working together to figure out an unstoppable way to do it. I cannot believe he was voted in. I mean, I can believe it in the sense that he was very, very manipulative in what he promised, but none of it's going to come true. I just can't believe that people actually believed him. I can't believe people actually believed him. And I see people that still believe him and they still follow him. And it's like, come on, guys, like how many excuses are you going to make? Okay, we'll wait it out because the fall from grace is coming for everyone. It's kind of like that show Special Forces. Like the person who makes it in the end is like the least likely. Like it's probably like a podcaster. And journalists turned in their badges or whatever in the Pentagon and walked out. That was really like chilling footage because they are not willing to oblige Pete Headsex, Pete, whatever. You suck. Journalists are independent thinkers and they're not going to just comply with whatever you want them to say because you used to be a news anchor for a media outlet. A U.S. military colonel resigned today, Doug Krugman, I believe. I would say stay and fight, but he probably just wants to enjoy his life. I have noticed that people are talking a lot more shit on Charlie Kirk now that it's been like a day since he was killed. So I guess now we can talk about it. Now we can talk about the racist comments. Now we can talk about how he said it was okay for an 11-year-old who was abused to have to keep the child. Now maybe we can talk about how psychopathy is a genetic thing and that you could be predisposed to be a psychopath. And if you were put into somebody by rape, then maybe there's a link there, but also how the life of the 11-year-old would be ruined because she would have to have a baby, carry it, and be accountable for this baby. So I know we had all these sound bites and everybody was like, don't go off the sound bites. Don't go off the sound bites. Well, okay. I listened to some full lectures, debates, full statements of Charlie Kirk. And yeah, he said some pretty horrible things. I don't think he should have died the way he died, but still, like, we have to be able to talk about the fact that, like, it was bad. And especially with the young Republicans being, their chats were all leaked by Politico yesterday or today, like their stuff is bad. It's racist, it's bigotry. I mean, basically they're all fat white people and they just hate anyone who's not skinny and white, basically. I mean, this is bad. How are we letting ourselves and our world go back so far in history when we have come so far? Like this unserious culture that is breeding online is a very serious problem. And then JD Vance says, like, don't worry about it. They're just kids. I would tell my kids not to put that stuff in messages so you don't get caught. Maybe teach your kids not to talk like that or say shit like that. And also, these aren't kids. One of the guys was 35. JD Vance, you're 42. I'm sorry. You're calling someone 7 years younger than you a kid so that you don't have to take accountability for the disgusting nature of the young Republican mindset. Like these messages were horrible. You can't put them on social media. You would just be banned right away. And I'm sorry, aren't your children of mixed race? Isn't your wife Indian, but she identifies as white? This isn't going to last. I know Trump said on Air Force One he wasn't going to go to heaven, but you guys are just asking for an invitation to hell. I don't know if I believe in all that crap, but you seem to. And Republicans were tweeting that Rosie O'Donnell's passport was revoked. So I asked her, and it's not. So just FYI, like she can still come to America. And that was just more misinformation because they hate Rosie so much. And you know why they hate Rosie? Because she knows Trump and she's known Trump for a very long time. And she knew Trump when he was young, when he was doing naughty things, and she has spoken about it. Don't get me wrong, he's still doing extremely naughty things, but she knew him back in the day, if you know what I mean. Back in the day. So I guess this podcast really is going to be, how were you manipulated today? Well, in many ways, celebrity news was fake. Government stuff was fake. I really don't think there is peace in the Middle East. We had no Palestinians present. We didn't have Bibi Netanyahu present during all of those shenanigans. People were smirking. It was like, oh, let's all just praise Trump and then maybe he'll just move away from this issue. No, there are still hostages. So many lives have been lost. All of this is a living nightmare, and there's no way in hell that it is over. I did see that Gavin Newsom was on a podcast, and when he was asked about AIPAC, he said the word interesting 8 times, and he did not elaborate as to why it was interesting. He did not say anything, and he kind of like, he glitched. He glitched. He has been on like a really solid path with, he's going to run for presidency. He has been doing really well, like with all of the social media and his talking points. And he's kind of a beast when he goes at it, but he glitched, major glitch. And I was like, oh, there's the old Newsom that everyone really, really dislikes. But then we're not going to pick Katie Porter either because she has rage issues. Like when she was in her kitchen doing some type of an interview and somebody walked in and she like screamed at them with absolutely no remorse. Yeah, that's the type of person that makes people think that women can't be stable and hold high levels of government. Oh, and speaking about that, Adelita Grijalva, I believe I always pronounce this wrong, still hasn't been sworn in for Arizona, but is officially suing. And so now I think we have like a day or two where Johnson has to sign her in. She's also going to be that last signature to release the Epstein files. If you think about the Epstein files and all of those redactions, that took a lot of people. Who are those people? Who did all those redactions? They know what they redacted. The survivors know who harmed them. Everyone in the government knows, but no one is saying anything right now. Why is that? I have 2 guesses. People are utterly terrified they're going to be sued or harmed, literally probably physically harmed, and that the people that joined Epstein were so bipartisan and also so high up that it would literally ruin things like the internet, social media. I mean, it has to be that huge. It has to be relationships with other countries. Everybody's kind of going at Prince Andrew, like, fine, we already know all of that stuff, but why is he such a focus right now when there are so many more? And again, why isn't Adam Langley speaking up? We know he was the chef on the island. We know he had to feed all of these young children, female children, and all of these guests. He's a millionaire. Amazing food, probably because he has seen so much meat. Nice. When Mitch McConnell ate shit today, he's 83. He was asked about ICE and then like fell to the ground. Granted, anybody who's 83, high fall risk, right? You want to be careful. Maybe you need like a 2-to-1 person on each side. But the best part was that when he walked away, the people, whoever was holding that camera, they were just giggling and laughing and like literally trying so hard to cover up the laughing. So let's just end today by saying, release the Epstein information. Maybe that's actually going to come. Tomorrow is the D-Day for the recorded audio file in the Lively Baldoni case. So that should come out and we'll know, because remember, Sorowitz basically said he was going to put $100 million towards burying Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. He basically compared it to the Middle East and said there were going to be 2 dead bodies at the end of this lawsuit. But don't worry, because he is in the Baha'i fuck me faith where he can do no wrong. So we can do like death threats. It's cool. We can ruin people's lives. We can sexually harass people. It's cool. None of it matters as long as you praise whatever God is in that religion, as long as you have faith. I did a great video. I haven't posted it yet, but On the lawyer Brian Friedman, who specifically dropped a case of a dying guy, Travis Flores, who was suing Justin Baldoni because Justin Baldoni stole his movie script, right? Knowing the guy was dying. Justin Baldoni probably hoped he was going to die sooner, but he lived for like 4 years. And so they actually had a chance to sue Baldoni in civil litigation, and their lawyer was Brian Friedman. But when Brian Friedman realized that he could be the lawyer for Baldoni because he was being sued by Blake Lively, he encouraged the Flores family to settle. He encouraged them to just leave. He said, "This is a pointless lawsuit. You're not going to win, and I'm out." He took a ton of their money up front. He gave them about 25 pages of documentation. Even that was redacted and just completely cleaned up. And he walked. Where did he walk? He walked to represent Justin Baldoni. And now, finally, about a year after, a little more than a year after they found out that he was representing Baldoni because they've been mourning the death of their son, they're suing Brian Friedman. So let's talk about lawyers and let's talk about their ethics, because he broke privilege in that case. He had horrible ethics. I mean, they're suing for multiple things. And I really do think that they're going to find justice in some little way, just some kind of small justice they deserve. Because yes, people, lawyers should have ethics, but this man has none. It's not fucking normal to put a website about your client's lawsuit online, filling it with misinformation, which we have seen. And I'm sure all the Baldoni lovers aren't even going to talk about this. But if you go back and you look at the website, now you'll see how many errors there are. Wait, they're not errors. They're just flat out lies. And they're void of actual information, which is why we need to wait for the trial, because the stuff that they did not include in that website, they didn't include because they didn't want to go to trial. I hear Friedman even has a vacation planned during the timeline of the trial because he really didn't think it was going to happen. So I am so happy that Blake Lively has just pushed through this, because she is really opening up a world of smear campaigns and what happens to especially female celebrities, female actresses. I think people have been astonished, and I think people will continue to be astonished as we get to the end of this case. And then we open up the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt case. I mean, this is a never-ending lawsuit cycle of actors, but what we need to understand is crisis PR, crisis management. We need to understand what is true and what is false. We need to understand things like how Brad Pitt's lawsuit was actively going on, but it was nowhere in the media because he had a movie coming out. Now that the movie's died down, now the lawsuits everywhere in the media. So I leave you all tonight hoping that you can have a calm night, and hopefully tomorrow will be less dramatic. Although I feel like tomorrow is going to be really fucking dramatic because we are starting the No Kings protests. And I just want you all to know to be safe, buddy up, keep hydration, keep food. I mean, I would even keep things with you in case you get pepper sprayed. You just seriously don't even know. Like, pour milk on your face. Just know how to take care of yourself. Bring a gas mask, bring goggles. I mean, how can you not be too safe when Trump is trying to call for an insurrection and deploy the military on the protests? So that's tomorrow and Saturday. And I think it is going to be newsworthy. I just hope it's not going to be a bloodbath. And I'm pretty scared. I know the FBI has been pretty scared for a long time since this was all posted online, since this began, and it has only grown. And now tens of millions of people are going to walk around this country against Trump trying to become a king. And yes, Trump was on the cover of Times Magazine. I don't know how that happened. I'm not going to read the article because I don't really care, but it is very notable that they chose a picture where his neck right here looked like the labia of a vagina, very much so. And he did mention not anything really about that, but he did mention that his hair flap looked like a little bit of a crown. So it's ironic that he let that slip when No King's Day is this weekend. Yeah. But anyways, grab them by the pussies, Trump. Grab them right here. See you guys tomorrow.